All right, here's a little quick video on just a little bit of a kind of trap for young players, or maybe a trap for those who just like the uh, automatic features of the digital oscilloscope. And I've got a square wave that's at 250 hertz, and I've got the vertical scale at 500 millivolts per division, and the horizontal scale at 2 milliseconds per division. So you would think the automatic measurement would be fairly accurate. So it's a peak to peak of 2.5 volts. But if we look at the vertical scale, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's pretty clearly that it should be 2 volts peak to peak. One of the things about square waves is that, this is also a little bit of a trap, is that your high frequency is going to be at your corners, particularly when it's rising and then when it's falling. Not necessarily around this corner or around this corner. Now you might not, so what we don't see, because we have the intensity kind of turned down, so you can turn the intensity up and then you'll see why the oscilloscope is measuring a higher voltage than what is really there. And that's because of this ringing. So if I move the scale in, you can see that there's this little bit of overshoot before it settles to its set point voltage. So I'm going to turn that intensity back down to something that's a little bit useful. And I'm going to, now if we take our cursors, let's do the vertical. Select. If I measure, turn the intensity back all the way up. So if I measure at the top of that overshoot and to the bottom of the undershoot, you see I get 2.5 volts. So what it's measuring is the highest peak and the lowest peak. So this is not necessarily going to be accurate, especially when it comes to square waves. So this is just a little trap. So this is one of those things where you wouldn't necessarily go with just the automatic measurements. You wouldn't just go with what the scope tells you. So you always have to be smarter than the instrument. So if we change our cursors more towards, it's right about there. And that's about right. So now we get the true peak-to-peak voltage of 2 volts. So just a little something to watch out for.